Ever wondered what a love child from 28 Days Later and Red Dawn would look like? Welcome to the Demented. Okay, so this is a horror movie review, and as it kind of stands, this is more or less a straight zombie film, but I think it's kind of got a bit of a unique flavour to it. Now, the basic premise of this movie is you've got 6 kind of college friends, and they're kind of going out to one of the parents' sort of summer house, and then so far you've seen it all before. Now, the hook here is basically, while they're at this kind of summer house, there's a kind of terrorist attack in the kind of, I guess, a bit more sort of in the kind of the main inland area. And this terrorist attack basically makes the kind of the residents turn into the kind of like almost like rage zombies from the kind of 28 Days Later series. And you've got this kind of infected zone. And as far as we know, these kind of group of 6 sort of youngsters are the only kind of unaffected people. As to why they're unaffected, we don't really know, as they seem to be relatively sort of close proximity to where the infected people are, but there you go. And essentially, it's just a kind of a race to sort of get to the safe zone. They found a kind of a message sort of saying there's kind of a helicopter pickup every so often. So what we've got is kind of a race across the landscape, trying to get to this like particular area where they can hopefully get rescued. Now, the actual premise is quite good, and it's an interesting film because it has a few kind of glaring flaws, which I'm going to talk about first. So the first thing I'll talk about, the ending of this movie, for some is going to be very, very unsatisfying. I won't say what it is, but they make a decision to do something, and I'm talking about the filmmakers, not the people on the screen, that I don't really understand why they've done it, and it kind of makes it a very unsatisfying ending. And what they actually do on a technical scale, I can't understand why they've done it. That's all I'll say. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. So in regards to the actual film itself, on the negative side, the special effects. So there's a few instances of CGI, and the first kind of infected thing they see is actually a dog. And it's got some really overdone sort of CGI effects, and it's kind of like drooling, and it's just literally drooling all the time, and it just looks like a kind of PS1 sort of dog like graphics sort of drooling out of its mouth, and it's really bad. I mean, there's a couple of CGI sort of fighter planes that we see. We can kind of look past that, I suppose, because it's obviously a reasonably low budget kind of movie, but this CGI enhanced dog looks ridiculous. So there's that. The other thing, we move on to the zombies themselves. Now, decisions to make these kind of zombies more or less infected people. So they're not technically zombies. So guessing they're not actually dead. So like I said, they're not rage zombies from 28 Days Later, but they kind of go with, okay, what do zombies look like? We'll kind of rip up some clothes and kind of put blood on their clothing. I thought, well, why are these clothes all ripped up? If they're just infected people from some kind of like gas explosion, why is it, you've got all these just like cut rips and things, and things like that. It just kind of, that just kind of looked like what zombies look like 101. So minor point, I know. That's a bit of a nitpick, that one. The other couple of things is there's quite a lot of overuse of shaky cam in this movie, and the editing is really bad. There's a couple of scenes where they kind of get to a town area, and the editing is just awful in it, and it kind of almost makes the film not make sense in a couple of scenes. So that's kind of, I guess, my issues with it. What I did like about it, I said the actual premise and the actual setup of this movie I actually quite like. I guess it's not massively original, but it's an interesting hook, I think. And what also sells it for me is the chemistry between these kind of 6 guys. Is you really do get the impression that they are genuinely friends, and then it kind of starts off quite quickly. It's not a film that really drags out. But, in the time that we have this kind of character building and the kind of the first portion of the film, which you always do in these sort of films, I don't know, you just got to think that these guys were really friends. They kind of just seemed natural together, so that was really good. I suppose the characters could be accused of being somewhat cliche. Of course, you have the one character with an ethnic minority. You've got the one character who's kind of like, the asshole and things like that. So, yes, the writing on these kind of the basic character types, is a little bit cliche, but the actors sell it, and they do come across as real people, which is very good. So it's an entertaining enough zombie film, and it's, like I say, it's a fast-paced movie. It's not a particularly gory film. There's a few sort of like bloody shots and things like that, but it's not a massively gory. But overall, it's an entertaining zombie film. I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment. I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.